welcome to the official episode 1 of a Fiber Collective podcast. In this space, we will talk all things knitting. We will go over questions and answers, tips, tricks, and tutorials, pattern releases, and what I'm currently working on. We'll also have unboxing videos for our subscription box services, and maybe we'll just have episodes where we go on fun yarny tangents. I wanted to use this episode as the place to introduce myself and talk a little bit more about a fiber collective. I'm Claire. I own Autumn and Indigo Fibers, which is a hand-dyed yarn business that offers written patterns, and my newest endeavor, which is a fiber collective. A fiber collective is a subscription box service for yarn lovers, and we also offer tips, tricks, tutorials, free patterns, kits, and we hope to branch into notions and tools. I live in the rural high desert of southeast Idaho. We recently moved here this year, back in July, from Washington, and it's been a wonderful change for us. I live with our 13-year-old son and my better half of 12 years and our dog Jubei. So why a podcast? And I think that's one of the biggest questions that is always asked, and all the answers vary, I suppose. For me, it's a place for self-growth. I have a very long log of tips, tricks, and tutorials that I've been working on for a fiber collective, and I've become better at putting my voice behind the camera and working with my hands, and I really needed to grow and learn how to show who I am behind the business. I don't like being on this side of the camera. It makes me really nervous and uncomfortable, and I'm an introvert to no end. So I was hoping that starting with a podcast, something my friend Taylor Herring had asked me to do years ago, but I chickened out, will help me grow as a person and be more comfortable being on this side of the lens. My anxiety level goes up. Words don't always come easy, so I find myself to be extremely awkward. I don't like group settings. I don't like being out in public. Yarn festivals they make me really uneasy. So I think here's a quiet place where I can learn how to be open and speak to somebody, which would be all of you, and be more comfortable with it in the end. This podcast also offers me the opportunity to share more of what I've been working on. We have our video tutorials that we've been adding to the website, and we're linking those to patterns and showing our way of doing things. The internet is a vast array of teaching, and I have found that nobody teaches one way and nobody learns one particular way, which is part of why I started doing tutorials myself. And having the variations in learning tools out there can go a long way. So a little bit more about a fiber collective. A fiber collective has been my brainchild over the last few months, and it's been really fun watching it evolve over that span of time since I started thinking about it. My main goal for a fiber collective was to offer a subscription box service that has US-based small businesses, and not just any small businesses. We're talking smaller businesses that have a lesser outreach. Instagram algorithms have really put a damper on being seen. Now they want reels, and you have to put your face in things, which everybody's not comfortable with. I'll vouch for that 100%. And it's just been really, really hard. If you're not in a clique or you're not a larger business, getting your brand into new hands has been really difficult. My own brand, Autumn and Indigo, was hit really hard by the pandemic, and I think a lot of that had to do with the supply chain issues and the changes in social media in itself. So I'm hoping that in the long term, having and working with these small businesses and putting them in a box and then sending them to other people will give them the opportunity to find new hands. I'm hoping that those people who see these new businesses will like them enough to continue to buy from them. And if nothing else, it's word of mouth. Hey, I really like this yarn, or where'd you get that? Whose is that? And from there, word of mouth goes a really long way, and I'm hoping that will benefit everybody in the end. I also want a fiber collective to be a community-based project, so to speak. So we have our small businesses, and I'm hoping to expand into either Facebook or Ravelry. I know a lot of people either use one or the other, so I'm trying to figure out what's going to be the best community-based project for that, where people can talk amongst each other, because a lot of people really like knit-alongs for that reason, is you can communicate with like-minded people when you don't always have the opportunity to do so. Like myself in Southeast Idaho, our knitting community is practically zilch. So when you live in small towns or you just don't like to go out in person, or you don't have the time to, then finding 5 minutes on the internet in these community forums will help you communicate with like-minded people. And that was really another goal of mine. We're also offering video tutorials, like I had mentioned, and free patterns, kits, tools, and notions, and we'll see where it goes from there. I don't really have any plans for it to become a yarn shop or a yarn business, but I would like to be able to offer tools for knitters and fiber artists amongst the website. Our subscription box service offers 3 different kinds. So we have your farm yarn box, which is pretty much a skein of yarn from small farms. We have our hand-dyed yarn box, which is a 100-gram skein of sport to worsted weight yarn with 2 to 3 other notions that's been hand-dyed by another small business, and our sock yarn box, which has 120 grams of fingering weight yarn. These boxes come with 2 to 3 notions. Sometimes they may be similar, sometimes they may be completely different amongst box to box, and that's pretty much the basis of it. Our first box goes out the beginning of next week, so that way people will start having them in their hands, and I'm excited to see where it goes from there. We have several boxes online still available, and we'll have an open box viewing option once our subscription boxes have been released and pushed out, and you'll have the opportunity to buy one if you don't like surprises. So in these podcasts, I wanted to also go over what I've been working on and share pattern releases. Just this past Monday, I released another free pattern for a fiber collective called the Rygate hat. It is knit in a DK weight yarn, and it has a wonderful ribbed texture, which is full of 1x1 faux cables. It's like a 1x1 cable, but they're really twisted stitches instead, and a knit one below technique, which offers this really yummy, deep textured stockinette, but it has a little bit more oomph to it. The yarn I used is, what is the yarn I used? It's sitting right here. I used Brown Sheep Company Prairie Spun DK. I have a lot of wonderful things to say about this yarn. It is an economy yarn, so to speak, but not in the same sense. It's not imported from China or anywhere else for that matter. It's actually milled just below us in Nevada, and it's 100% wool and American based, so it's pure, which I find wonderful. The other great thing about this yarn is it is easy on the wallet. It's not your typical $27 skein DK weight yarn, which I have nothing against, but when you're on a budget and you need budget options, this is a great way to go. I think a typical skein ranges anywhere between like $13 and $15 a skein, which is amazing. And to top it off, it just wears really well. Like, it feels good. It's got a nice bounce to it. It's 3 plies, so it shows texture really well. It's great for cables. It makes them pop. It's just a good yarn for the money, and I don't think you can beat it. This color here is reclaimed wood, and it has approximately 256 yards per 100 gram skein. So if you're looking for something new to try, I recommend this. My sweater is the Searchlight sweater. It was also knit in this yarn. I've worn it several times and it's hardly pilly. It's comfortable, it's warm. It holds up really well, and you can't argue with that when it comes to making your own knits. Speaking of knits, my current project, I have a few on the needles, but I'm only going to share one for today because time is a thing, and comfort levels are probably also a thing before I turn really rambly. But I've been working on another sock pattern for a fiber collective. This is also knit in the Brown Sheep Company Prairie Spun DK. It's gonna be, I like thicker socks for the winter because my house is really cold and we live in a really cold climate, but I'm torn on whether or not I want this to be like a slipper sock where I can pair the cuff with Surrey and make it really, really cozy, or if I want to just keep it ribbing, or if I want to just stay simple and just go up into a standard cuff. I'm not sure yet, but time will decide because I'm hoping to have this released next week. The entire premise of the free patterns was supposed to be a freebie Friday, but I have found time management is not always it's not always the best thing for me. I have another half that works from the house, and it makes things really hard to balance when he's coming up the stairs for break or coming up for lunch, and then he goes downstairs, then he comes up again, and I'm like, it just makes it, he's really distracting to say the least. And my other half goes to school. He only goes to school Monday through Thursday here in the small town, so him being home on Fridays also eliminates work hours for mom. So time management. Freebie Fridays might eventually be a thing, but for now they just get released whenever they get released. So I think that's it for this episode. I really don't have a whole lot more to share with you at this point in time. In the next few days, I need to upload an unboxing video for our 3 subscription boxes. Again, if you'd like to purchase one, I will link them in the box below. You can tune in next time if you think that's going to be for you. If not, then thanks for being here. Thanks for watching this hellaciously awkward video of episode 1, and I hope to see you again. Until next time.